everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, my name is Maria and this is my lifestyle channel, Life with M. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, turn on the post notifications bell button so you can receive a notification every time I post a new video, and hit that like button if you like this video. And yeah, check out my other videos. I know it's been a long time since I've posted, but I have no excuse. I mean, I did have a baby. But you know, still no excuse, you know, no excuse at all. So I thought I'd jump on here before you know, Sir Lucas turned a year old and you guys can officially meet him. Today's video is going to be my story time, labor and delivery story. I am going to try my very best to remember every detail, exactly how everything went. It might be out of order, things might come back to me. It's a year later. I did attempt to make this video at when he was 3 months, but I forgot so many things that I actually just ended up scratching it. But it's okay because I am back now and I am ready to tell my story with as much you know, memory of it as I have. And yeah, let's get right into today's video. Okay, so where do I start? Oh my god, I don't even remember if you guys like knew everything that happened prior to having him. Mind you, I had a really great pregnancy. Everything that had to do with the pregnancy was great. I never had anything crazy go on with me, ever. I never experienced anything that all these people, like all these like women experience when they're pregnant. I can't really complain about my pregnancy. Up until the last week, I did experience like terrible things that didn't really have anything to do with the pregnancy. So the week before I had actually been in the hospital like 3 or 4 times, which I didn't think I would do. I am so laid back. I don't like to bother people. I don't like to I'm just not the type to take myself to the hospital and like complain about something. I'm not like that. I don't like it, and I know that I should be, but I'm not. I think it was like Wednesday or Tuesday I actually went to the hospital because I was like leaking stuff. I didn't know what it was. I was freaking out, and I was like, I was doing everything in my power to have Lucas. So if you were on my Instagram, you knew that I was walking a lot. I was bouncing on the ball. I was doing everything. That little boy would not come out on his own, right? I did everything I could, and I ended up leaking some stuff. Went to the hospital. Ended up being fine. Actually ended up getting like, I think it's like a cyst. Don't really know. I'm not gonna say the whole story because it's just gonna be like way too long. But I got a cyst like right on my thigh next to my like private part, and it was terrible because obviously I can't see it. I had a big belly. It was really bad. It was really ugly. It hurt a lot, right? And I remember that was Wednesday that I went because of the leak. Thursday I couldn't walk, you know, the whole day. My boyfriend was at work and I was at home crying over that cyst, crying because I couldn't move. I would get up to have to go pee, and it was like I was scrunched, like barely could get to the bathroom. It was terrible. Yeah, it was Thursday night. I went to go to the bathroom to go shower, and you know, the thing was hurting really, really bad. And I went into the bathroom. As I was walking in, and out of nowhere I was gushing blood. So it had actually popped, and there was blood everywhere. There was blood down my leg. There was blood all over the floor. Like, it looked like a bloodbath. That's how much blood. It was a lot of blood. So I guess I lost so much blood when I went into the shower. And I got into the shower, I had continued losing blood, and I actually got very dizzy, and I was fainting. And like I fell to the side. And so there's like a wall, and I like went like that because we have a shower. We don't have a tub, luckily. And like I went like that, and I was like, whoa! And then just started screaming for Saul to come, because I was like, I can't pass out right now. So I called him and he got me out, and then we actually ended up going to the hospital because I almost fainted. Whatever. I didn't really want to mention that I had that cyst because they would have to swab it, and I didn't want them to do that. But they ended up putting me in a chair because of fainting and stuff, and they just checked that like everything was good with the baby and all that. Like in a little, it was like a little section with a chair because they didn't think it was like, I wasn't there to be like checked for like they weren't, see, I already forgot the word. See, I knew this was gonna happen. I forgot everything. Ultrasound. They weren't gonna do an ultrasound, so they're just gonna sit me down, check his heart rate, check my heart rate, make sure everything was good since I was fainted. Whatever, everything ends up being fine. But then I mentioned that I have that, and they wanted to see it. And once they saw it, they put me in a room. They had to swab it. That was like the most terrible pain. Even the nurse was like, I don't know how you're doing that right now. that, like, it was ugly. They were like, that has to be the worst thing that you can get, and you're pregnant and in a spot where you can't even see it. It was terrible. That was like literally one of the worst things. So that happened before all of that was going on. I was, you know, I ended up going back home. Then that was Thursday. Then by the next Tuesday I had already, you know, had my appointment to be induced at the hospital. Well, actually Saturday I did the COVID test, all that stuff. I was cleared to be induced Tuesday. Yeah, at 8 o'clock, whenever I got into the hospital, I had one nurse who actually, she was very nice, but she was only there till I think 11 o'clock. And when I had originally spoken to her, I wanted to try to push back. Did he fall asleep? I think he fell asleep. I wanted to try to push back my epidural as much as I can, so that when the time came, the epidural was working. So I didn't want to get it so early. So when I had spoken to that one nurse, she had given me like the pills, I forgot what they're called, so that I can be induced. And you know, the pain obviously just gradually started getting worse. He explained to me that I would be able to get an IV, like I would be able to get this like medicine in my IV that would help with the contractions, so that I could push back the epidural. Wanted that, but she ended up leaving, and I was like, oh my god, I'll do that. I'll get that first, and then I'll get the IV. I'll get the epidural later on. My main focus was like the epidural working when it needed to. I think that was like my biggest concern, 100%. She was actually only the night nurse, so she was only there till like 11 o'clock at night. By the time the, you know, I started getting really bad contractions, and I wanted that IV that she had, that medicine that she had told me about, that they could insert into the IV, through the IV, which by the way, okay, I'm just gonna say this right now, that nurse put the freaking IV in like the worst spot ever. I'm gonna put a picture. She put it right freaking here, or was, I don't remember what hand it was, and it hurt. I think it was this hand. I don't know. Oh my god, I'm something in my eye. But it hurt so much, so much. That was like the worst spot that she could have put it. Like at least even like here, you know, here, because it's like here. This hurt so much. So this is a tip: when you're gonna go and have a freaking baby, make sure that they don't put it freaking right here. Okay, tell them like right here. And mind you, my veins on my hands, they pop. I know that she would have been able to get one. She didn't even try. Like the first thing that she thought was, I'm gonna get it right here. Terrible. Fight for your rights, sis. Tell them, no, not here, here. Tell them what you want. Ends up leaving, and then I ended up getting another nurse, and I guess the nurse that I ended up getting was actually like a supervisor of the floor, so she was actually very busy. I don't want to say that she was a bad nurse, so I'm giving her the benefit of the doubt to say that she was the supervisor of the floor, so she wasn't really as attentive as she should have been or could have been. I never really saw her. She actually never she didn't do anything. She never checked if I was dilated. She never did anything that she was supposed to, like, as my nurse. So it was always someone different doing something to me, so that really like annoyed me and got on my nerves, because I was always having to call the nurses, and I don't like that. I don't like for me to have to like bother people, because now I just feel like I'm bothering you. I thought, you know, you having to come on your own terms was like good enough, you know, like you coming whenever you know you had to come, but I had to be calling them, and that drives me crazy. I don't want to bother anybody, you know. I start to get the contractions, and I tell them like, oh, you know, the last nurse explained to me how I could get this IV, and you know, I could get this IV, this medicine through the IV before I get the epidural, blah blah. And she was like, well, you know, those are, I called the nurse, and it ended up being a different nurse comes, and I'm like, well, I was explained that I could get, you know, this IV before I actually got the epidural, and that it only worked for about 2 hours, but I mean, it'll, you know, I'd rather do that for 2 hours and then get the epidural. And she said, and then she ends up like telling me some story of how like I should just get the epidural. To me, it just kind of felt like they wanted to give me the epidural and get it out of the way. Like, yeah, let's just give it to her now, whatever. I really wanted the other one, because I just really wanted to push it back as much as I like push back the epidural as much as I can. But no, I ended up getting the epidural because I don't fend for myself. But I don't fend for myself, I really don't. But I ended up getting the epidural. Another nurse that comes, and she's like, oh, what have you dilated? I was like, when was the last time you checked? I was like, they haven't even checked if I dilated. And she was like, oh, they haven't? And I was like, no. And she checks, and I was dilated a lot, and I had really bad contractions. She was like, well, you know, explaining to me how I'm just gonna get the epidural. And I was like, fine, whatever, like, you know. So she calls the anesthesiologist, and she comes, and I was in such bad pain, like such bad pain that I was shaking so much. I couldn't stay still. They wanted me to move a certain way, and then they kind of ended up telling Saul, like, yeah, Dad, you can go outside. And they were very, I felt they were very rude, and so did he, but we don't catch on to those things easily, at least I don't. So I'm just like I said, I give people the benefit of the doubt a lot. So I was kind of like, oh, you know, they're just working, whatever. But they were probably just being very rude to him, and they sent him outside, and I was there alone, and I was just like, okay, are you guys done yet? Like, and I was like in so much pain, and they were like, move back, move forward, move here, and I could barely move, right? So like, I think they should have let him stay in the room and, you know, at least help me get into the position that I needed to be in for them, because I had to do it alone. They weren't helping me move around. I was shaking. I could barely move. I was in so much pain, and I was so upset that he couldn't at least stay there to help me get into the position that I needed to be in for them. Would have been better for them. I would have been in the position faster, and then when they were ready to do the epidural, they could have just tell him, you know, to like leave the room, and then they could have done what they needed to do. But apparently that was not good enough. Telling me to like hold tight on a pillow, like that, like hold really tight onto a pillow. And they were doing the epidural, and the epidural, honestly, like, I was scared of it. One thing that I've always told myself when I had kids and like I had to do the epidural, because I hate needles, it's like, don't look at the needle. Like, I was never going to look at the needle. I had no interest in a needle. I need to get it. It needs to be done. It's gonna make me feel better, but don't look at it. Like, don't look at the needle. I never looked at it. I have no idea what it looks like. So I just did that, and I was just sitting there shaking. It was terrifying. And then at that moment, I explained to her. She was like, she had asked me like, oh, do you have any like problems? Are you allergic? Whatever. And I just told her like, oh, I do have scoliosis. I don't know if that, like, obviously I'm gonna mention it because my spine is not, you know, super straight like it should be. My spine is curved, so they should know that for when they're inserting the needle. And then at that moment I like freaked out, because she was like, well, you know, that that's like a risk and whatever. And I was like, yeah. And I was like, whatever, I have no choice, people do it all the time with scoliosis, like, what am I gonna do, right? So I ended up getting it anyways. He comes back into the room, and this was at about 2 o'clock, and I felt that was so early. Oh, and then they put the catheter. I had a really weird pain. I don't know if it was the catheter. The catheter hurt a lot. I know it's not supposed to, and it was really weird because it did. And I know that the epidural is supposed to numb you and you're not supposed to feel anything, but up until they took the catheter out, I had really bad pain. Like that for hours, and then I ended up knocking out for a little bit. So then comes morning shift, 7 o'clock. They actually end up switching my nurses, and I ended up getting 2 really nice nurses for the morning shift. It was one lady, and then she was training another lady, so I felt like I had to, right? And they were really nice. They were helping me a lot. And at some point, it was like 8 o'clock, it was like 9 something, I was feeling contractions again, really bad, like really bad. And it was going back to how it started. What I was scared of happening was happening. You know, I was laying there, and I was like, it's really bad pain. Like, we need to figure out what we're gonna do now at 9 o'clock, because like I could be having him at any moment if I need to have a top off for the epidural. But it was so weird, because I explained to my cousin that I avoided pressing the button, because like they give you a button to press it every time that you feel you need more. I didn't press it. I only pressed it I pressed it that one time. I pressed it probably twice. So I don't feel in my heart that it ran out, but that it just, my body either became numb to the epidural or the epidural wasn't working. Something went wrong there. I can't really say what it was, but I know that like about 9 o'clock I felt really bad pain, and I didn't know what to do. I told the nurse, and I told the helper, the one that was training, and I guess she forgot to tell my actual nurse. And my actual nurse comes back to the room like at 10, and I was like, oh, like I called for you because I really need, like, it's hurting really bad. Like, it was hurting bad. I could feel everything. And she's like, okay, well, I'm gonna call the anesthesiologist, and the doctor actually officially comes in, right? The doctor was originally coming into the room to greet me. She hadn't even seen me yet. I knew who she was. She worked at my OB. My OB was inside of my hospital, so that was really good. But I had not seen a doctor up until I saw her. That was the first time I even saw a doctor. And she went to just check me to see how I was doing. And the anesthesiologist was already on the way to top me off. The doctor was just checking me, and she had me do like practice pushes, but I was going through really bad pain, and I was doing really bad. And she was asking me like, do you feel pain? Like, what do you feel? I was like, I feel the contractions again. And she had me push, and then I hear her tell a nurse, oh, we're gonna have to call off the anesthesiologist, we don't have time. And I was like, I literally, like, Saul saw me, I literally was like, what you're gonna do? What? No, like, that's not what we're gonna do. The anesthesiologist is gonna come, you know, she's gonna top me off, I'm gonna feel better, and then we're gonna have baby. And she was like, no, we don't have time. Like, there is no time for that. You have 0 time for that. You need to have, like, he's coming. And I was like, what? And yeah, they ended up calling him off. I specifically remember that was at 10 o'clock that I saw her. She had to be at a C-section. She had to be having helping another mom have baby. She was supposed to be somewhere else at that time with a C-section, and she had to call them and tell them, like, you guys need to wait because this girl is having her baby right now. She got off the phone. She had me do practice pushes, and it was at 10:08, and we kept, you know, she kept telling me push. It was like 10:15. They started prepping everything for him to come out. By 10:21 he was out. And she kept telling me when I was pushing him, his heart rate is dropping, you need to push because his heart rate is dropping. And I was like, well, sorry. And I was like, oh my, I was like, oh Lord. And yeah, I ended up pushing him out. To feel like if there's anything that I would do different is if I absolutely do not have to get induced, I won't. I would honestly prefer to just be chilling and him come out, and that's it. So he was actually born on 11/11/2020, which was really cool because his birthday's 11/11. And yeah, he's knocked out over there. And yeah, that is my pregnancy story. I'm thinking back to see if I remember anything that I'm missing. I don't think I'm missing anything, but yeah, that's basically it. I was told that I needed to use the bathroom because if not they would insert the catheter again, and I was like, something was wrong where my uterus wasn't going back to place. Something like that wasn't going back into its place, and they were like, if you can't use the bathroom, then we need to reinsert the catheter. And I hated the catheter. I was like, no, like, I'm gonna use the bathroom like right now. And I got up and I went to go use the bathroom. They ended up switching us to a different room. Lucas was an angel. He was not bad. When I tell you that he slept, when I tell you that I was able to shower, be on my phone, he loves to sleep. Ever since he was born. In the hospital, he was sleeping 4 hours, 5 hours at a time. And to the point where I told the nurse, I was like, look, he's not, you know, he's not waking up. One nurse actually told me, like, wake him up for his food, he eats his food, la la. And then another nurse was like, if a baby's sleeping, it's because he's tired. If he was hungry, he'd be crying for food. So don't wake a sleeping baby, right? And I never did. Honestly, I thought the same, like, if you're hungry, you eat. So he slept the whole time in the hospital. He never really gave a hard time. No, I did not attempt to breastfeed. I didn't want to. Don't know. I don't know. It was my choice was not to. I don't know why. I just didn't want to. So he's been having, you know, baby milk ever since. Yeah, formula ever since. But yeah, that is my pregnancy story. I hope it's interesting enough for you guys. I tried my very best to remember every single detail. It's like, I want to say, you know, everything exactly at the times and all that stuff, but that was not gonna happen. You know, it could have happened, you know, months ago, but not now. Now I'm just, it's not a blur, but it's not going to be exact. But it's okay. because most of it, I feel I mentioned most of everything that happened. But yeah, overall positive pregnancy story. Everything went pretty peachy. I cannot complain. Like I said, it was a great pregnancy. Up until literally the last week that things kind of just went to shit. But yeah, okay, so I'm gonna try to end this video as fast as I can. Lucas is actually sleeping right now, and I wanted to show you guys Luke in this video, but I guess we're gonna have to save that for the next one because he is super knocked out. But yeah, my SIM card is running out of freaking space. I need to make this fast, quick, and in a hurry. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Sorry that I am so late on my videos. I promise that this time I'm gonna really try and stay on my stuff. His first birthday is literally around the corner, so there's a lot of content coming out for you guys, and we are going to be going to Jersey in literally less than a month. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, click the notification bell so you can receive a notification every time I post a new video, and hit the like button if you enjoyed watching my storytime video. Comment down below any questions you guys may have, any video suggestions, literally anything. In the description I have my Instagram, so you guys can follow me on there as well. But yeah, you guys will be seeing Lucas in the next video. I would love to show you guys him right now, but he is super knocked out. So yeah, bye. Thank you guys so much for watching. Peace.